Doing?
Yeah, just it's because it's such a sunny day. I'm just filming some interesting contrast between sun and buildings.
Unfortunately, you have to get permission from management to film the centre.
But I thought that was like if you're inside the centre,
No,
so you're not allowed to film outside the
No, because no disrespect, mate, but what way are you facing?
Royal Bank of Scotland. Well, they belong to the people. Are they not taxpayer owned? Yeah.
Oh, you're not getting it. Right. No, we can't have you be doing this unless you get permission. Give me a phone
Sure.
number.
No, what it is I specialise in filming things that some people, security police, might not want filmed, and so I'm as much doing my job here as you guys are. So I'm going to have to respectfully disagree.
We can give you the phone number.
No, it's not. We don't need. We're all men. You can handle me like men right here. Like I'm going to be gone in literally 1 minute. I just need a few shots of the angles. But you guys coming here trying to stop me gives me more interesting things to film. I mean, if you're But if you're concerned about the legality of what I'm doing, there's a PCSO right there. He can either stop me or say to you guys that I'm okay doing what I'm doing.
We'll give you a minute then, mate, anyway, because we've got to fix it anyway.
Yeah, no worries, all the best. See you. If you think it's real, then it is real. That which you believe is your reality. It's a truism, but it has to be said. If you don't think things are real, then they are not real. Consciousness and sentience and the subjective experience of things is all we know. There are objective truths, and you can try and find them, and they might change. Within science, there are objective truths which have been updated or changed throughout history, and you never know. Something might break the speed of light. We might find an equation that bends space-time to the point where we can create wormholes. But here I am filming banks, filming the institutions that holds the whole greased system together. There's greasy palms, there's greasy backhanders, there's greasy ponytails, there's greasy bankers, there's greasy pigs, there's greasy corruption, there's greasy people, and there's greasy shop windows. And here's Lloyd's TSB, the bank that laughs at you. Ha 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 ha. And I love it. In the last year, we've helped over 6 million customers to save. How can we help you? Look at that! You can be a little caricature of a human being in a hot air balloon. And I love that. The things which create the chains, the enslaving system, talk about helping you. Let's get a nice little reflection here. Let's see. Let's see, who's that scumbag in the window there? Oh, look, it's me. Anyway, if I film a mirror, is it a one-way mirror? I think it is a one-way mirror. That behind me, you can see there, is Swinton Civic Centre. The monstrosity built behind that 18th century, slightly nicer building. If I point that way, that's the monstrosity, and just a bit further on is the nice building. Anyway, that's 2 minutes and 11 seconds. Good morning, everyone. We're back outside Salford City Council. This is my local governmental control agency, and it has a nice pedestrianised area around it, which without too much traffic noise, so I can come here and speak to my heart's content. You know, the thing I dislike most about the way human beings are organised, and I'm not the first person in time and history to say this, is poverty. The crime, the abuse that is poverty that hurts people. And poverty seems to be a side effect, a kind of cancer from a cancer of statism and the organisation of human beings into that which is not natural, that which is not indigenous, that which is not at one with the state of nature. And after watching the Massive Attack versus Adam Curtis political presentation in that warehouse the other night, it's really got me thinking. Not thinking entirely new things, but when you get inspired by something or someone, it kind of adds to your depository of ideas, or it allows you to pick apart a tangled mess of an idea and reconsider it. And Adam Curtis was talking about how Isaiah Berlin and John Nash and all sorts of other big minds in the 20th century have discovered through trial and error, through actual evidence, trying it, that any organization of society, any attempt to impose an ideology, an ism, on society ends up having unforeseen circumstances. And that was a phrase that Adam Curtis kept saying, unforeseen circumstances. And those of us who have looked deeply enough into consciousness and sentience, you can see how, you know, you think you're out of the frying pan, you're straight in the fire. Or you think you're out of the fire, you're straight in the frying pan. Look at the Tibetan monks. They became one with the universal God, and next thing you know, the Chinese are invading, killing all their kids and taking over their country. Poor Tibetan monks. But yeah, you think you attain total peace and oneness with God, but because you are God, you will make life very interesting and very difficult and very challenging for yourself, because after all, why else are you here? Anyway, coming back to poverty, Adam Curtis, any ideology imposed upon the state of nature, which is a state of ourselves as natural indigent creatures, as the children of God, as manifestations of the absolute objective God, anything else you try and do fucks things up hard. And that's where the expression, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And nature was not broken. Well, not broken at all. Like, you know, 1 million years ago, 2 million years ago, you know, we were evolving and living and hunting woolly mammoths or whatever we were doing. But there's something about the human brain, you know, because we are sentient and we are able to abstract and come outside our brain and go, oh, there's my brain. Oh, there's me thinking about my brain. There's me thinking about myself thinking about my brain. You abstract it out and you can go, wait a minute, this situation, I'm losing kids, I'm not having enough food, blah, blah, blah. You start creating civilizations and societies and you end up fucking it up. And I have to agree with Noam Chomsky here. The history of the world is a history of genocide and murder and surplus and slavery. Genocide, murder, surplus and slavery. Noam Chomsky, you have it right. And not even Christopher Hitchens could pick apart your argument there. All he could say is like, oh, Noam Chomsky, he believes the entire of the history of the world is genocide and murder and surplus and slavery. And that's all he had to say. But poverty happens because we are tribal and we lived in nature in hierarchies, and this is a kind of dirty mirror reflection of the self, and it comes out in ugly ways, very ugly ways. And I live in a poor area. Salford is one of the poorest areas of Britain. One could say this is the Detroit of England. And you see the faces of people around here. They walk around and their heads are hanging low and they suffer health problems that comes with poverty. They're heavy smokers, they're malnourished. They have those bags under their eyes of very stressed out, very depressed people. And the only difference, there's absolutely no difference to them than there is to me or to you. Genetically, they're the same, identical. Biologically, they're the same. Physically, they're the same human beings. But what is different is the kind of psychological pressure put upon the poor, and they start believing the hype. They start to think that they are a piece of shit, and they start, you know, getting more and more depressed, and the head goes down, the mood goes down, and your body, through the stress hormones, stress chemicals, you start to destroy yourself. And it's similar to the idea of epigenetics. Your environment will affect your genes. And with human beings, and I was watching a documentary about the caste system in India last night, and how the lower castes, the untouchables and so forth, these people, they believe their caste. They believe that they are scum and that they belong at the bottom of the funeral pyre, the society pyre, whatever you call it. And so you become institutionalized by your own self-hatred. It consumes you. And the amount of people you see walking around that look like quasi-zombies, pseudo-zombies, vampires, just in pain. Poverty is the greatest crime against humanity of all. And I don't even know the numbers anymore. Is it 25,000 children die of poverty-related diseases every day? 25,000 children? Imagine that, 10 9/11s every morning of children dying from poverty-related diseases. That comes from the stratification of human beings into cogs in a machine. And every attempt, every abstraction beyond the state of nature has, well, let's not call it a failure, but it has done more trouble than it is good. I mean, like, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find someone who could argue that theaters and opera and art and space travel and the internet is worth 30,000 starving, tortured children every day. It's a tough call, because you could quite as easily be jumping around through the jungle, drinking fresh water out of a stream, hunting your own food, picking your own wild berries, living without poverty. And yeah, kids will die, but they're not dying as a direct result of society. And look, it's not just the West, it's not just communism either, it's not capitalism per se. It's a governmentality, a disease we have in the mind of dominance and control. And it's hard to step outside it. And it's so tied in with your ego. But ultimately, the way I can try and explain it is that everyone is God, and as God, you're making this as challenging and as interesting for yourself as possible. And it's a fucking trip. But that's what you're doing for yourself. And I know a lot of people go, bollocks, you're not God. But then you create either a God outside you, or if you're a reductionist materialist, you invent M theory and you say there's 10 dimensions, but 6 of them are too infinitely wound up, and nothing can turn into something, and something can come from nothing. So ultimately, we are trapped in a semantic prison, because any intelligent, healthy person is saying the same thing. Everything they utter is the word of God, or of reality, of sentience, of the universe. It's actually very hot and sunny. It's fantastic. It's been like a whole week now like this. But anyway, let's talk a bit of news. Let's get some news in. Zimmerman frame, Trayvon Martin. Big news. The guy was found not guilty. And seeing as I wasn't there, I wasn't in the fight, I only know second and third hand, you know, statements of people that were there that say this. And as we all know, the truth gets lost in war, in battle, in a fight. People with agendas, the truth gets lost. I don't know what Zimmerman did. I don't know what Trayvon Martin did. But, you know, social commentary. When you look at social media and on Facebook, you can see the kind of battle lines are divided between the Zimmerman supporters, the Trayvon Martin supporters, and this is just partisanship. It's just the human desire for drama and confusion and anger and the expression, the repressed rage, let's take it out. But I don't think this is going to be a repeat of the LA riots that we saw from the Rodney King beatings in 93, 92. Because people are smarter now, are they? And, I mean, who knows? I mean, the Rodney King beatings, you had 10 white police guys beating a black guy really badly on video. Can't argue with it. But there's no footage of what happened with Zimmerman. We don't know who's telling the truth. And so, on one level, down here, 2 men, okay, one young man and one older man, got in a fight, there was punching, there was a gunshot, someone died. On another level, and this is a kind of more, this is the more dramatic level, hundreds of years of discrimination and slavery led to a son of a white man and a Hispanic woman thinking he was a Jason Bourne-style vigilante. He didn't like the look of this young black guy in a hooded top hanging around at nighttime buying Skittles. And he profiled him and followed him and wound him up to the point where Trayvon Martin couldn't control his own ego and aggression and started a fight. And Zimmerman, instead of holding his ground and standing his ground, that's even the law in Florida, he got his gun out and shot him. And it's a case, this is the dramatic story I'm recounting here, it's the case of white privilege keeping the black man down and so forth. But the truth is always somewhere in the middle. You're not going to have a defined narrative of anything unless you were there. You're not. How can you define it unless you were there? What else is in the news? Edward Snowden going to make his way to Venezuela. I've been to Venezuela. I went to Puerto Colombia, Caracas, a few other places in Venezuela. Nice country, nice people, good cheap rum. And they're not big fans of the American state, which I'm not a massive fan of either. It's disappeared up its own fascist, corrupt arsehole many years ago. But Snowden is still in Russia. He's probably going to stay there for a couple more months, and then he's going to make his way to Venezuela to live out his life on a beach, helping out the cause or whatever he's doing there. That's always good fun. Some other news, more locally, here in Salford. Can you see the pink sign, Salford City Council? That's where I am. Here in Salford, there is actually a killer, a rapist and a killer on the loose, on the run. His name is Michael Cope, and sorry, I shouldn't say, he's a suspect in the murder and rape here in Swinton, in Salford. And my girlfriend's friend, one of her best friends, her cousin is the victim, a girl called Lindsay Ashton. And it's a small world, it's a small community. And she was found dead by her ex-partner, the father of her kids. And there's currently a reward for £25,000, which is about 40,000 US dollars, for the information leading to the capture of Michael Cope. And it's just strange. It's the first time I've lived in a small community where there is actually a killer on the loose being hid by someone. They've raided 30 residences and arrested 3 men in connection of perverting the course of justice by hiding Michael Cope, so they say. But very interestingly, Crime Stoppers, the charity, put a £5,000 reward on him. And just 3 days ago, the Greater Manchester Police quadrupled it. Well, actually, pentupled it to 25,000. So, I'm a filmmaker. I could maybe even turn into a bounty hunter. But I don't have any leads. And if the police can't find him, and he's a murderer, I don't see what luck I would have. But £25,000 tax-free, that's suddenly serious money. That's life-changing money if you can bring in a murder suspect. But I'm not Dog, I'm not a bounty hunter, I don't have long blonde hair. Anyway, this is 13 minutes long. I'm going to end it at 13 and 33 seconds, but because YouTube's funny, it'll probably say 13:34 or 13:31. But it's my birthday, my 33rd birthday in 3 weeks, so we'll do something for that. Anyway, 3, 2, 1.